And welcome to tonight to the Ukatsu High School eSports League. This is week 7. My name is Ben Brooks, one of the co-founders of Ukatsu, and with me tonight, co-casting, is Ben Bruce, the high school coach of Hickman High School, and as well as Tyler Jennings, Lindsay Kay, Twitch streamer herself, who also plays League of Legends. So we're all three of us, are going to be tri-casting tonight's games between Rockbridge High School and Battle High School. So again, like we said before, this is we're starting to round out the last third of the regular season, per se, of this 9-week high school esports situation kind of league, and it's coming down to the wire. Specifically, we're going to get into the B team games here. Both schools are tied at a 3-3 record, and this is the last time the schools are going to play against each other. Right? We have 4 schools in this league. They play each other 3 times, and for some of these schools, like this one here, it's going to be the tiebreakers tonight. And so I'm very excited to see what it shakes out, especially because when we get down to it, we got some roster swaps. Roster swaps the last couple of seconds here, so that'll be pretty exciting.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, this really, actually, I'm not sure who won the Battle Rockbridge last time. Do you remember, Ben?
Actually, I believe Battle won, because Rockbridge actually took it the first time around. So,
okay.
Yes, Battle won the last matchup.
So they're currently
in the
1-1
B team.
against each other.
Correct.
Then?
Yep.
All right, yeah. So that's actually huge for these teams, because in terms of standings then, whoever wins this really has a leg up on the other one. So.
Yeah, because playoffs are right around the corner as well. After the next 3 weeks, right after that, we'll be jumping into the post-game season. All of these teams are still in the running, even the B team games for the last tournament that we'll have on stage at Hickman High School in the auditorium. So if you guys haven't been able to play on stage in the auditorium yet, like in the exhibition season, you guys will get the chance. It'll be very, very exciting. We know the president of Columbia College himself wants to come out and hand off the trophy to the winner. So again, kind of transitioning as well, we want to thank our sponsors as well for making this entire league possible. Thank you to Columbia College, Armstrong Teasdale, Hawthorne Bake, Veterans United, and of course the Ukatsu concession stands. My bad. So if you guys are out here in the audience right now and you guys are having a hankering for some snacks as you're watching your favorite high school teams battle it out on the Rift, stop by the Ukatsu concession stand, because you won't find prices anywhere lower in this building than right over there at the concession stand. So thank you guys. We appreciate it a lot. And not quite sure yet if teams are ready, because like we said before, we actually just had a roster swap. So a couple teams right at the last seconds not having the players either available, or they just, I guess, coaches wanting to swap people out at the last couple of seconds. And so we're going to see some new faces specifically on the battle side, and also in roles that we might not have seen them before.
Yeah, it looks like on battle side, maybe the top laner is kind of the wild card here. I don't think I've ever seen that player before, Nodal 314. Unfamiliar with them, and then they've swapped their A team AD carries to the mid lane, so definitely a lot of change on this B team roster here.
Yeah,
hopefully, hopefully that doesn't hurt them as much as it could, right? Because this is an important game for this team, just like we mentioned earlier. So hopefully they're able to maintain enough team synergy to pull through and get a win here.
Yeah, specifically, Tyler, you as well have been watching some of these teams very closely from home in this kind of more of a spectator capacity. Any thoughts coming into this game between these two B team rosters?
I'm definitely very excited to see some of the players that I have not seen before, or that have not been able to play yet. I'm excited to see also the matchup with Charbel being mid. Excited to see what he has to pull out.
Yeah, Charbel, Polly, Namahad in the mid lane, specifically for the B team roster, did not compete last week, and actually he is actually a mid laner main, and he's been playing the A team AD carry specifically. So we're gonna see how that works out as well. If teams are ready to jump into the picks and bans, though, we're also ready to go. And yeah, exciting enough though. Actually, we talk about how the leagues have been transitioning, what's been going on between these players and these teams. Let's see here. Battle, when we first started out the 9-week season, they didn't have enough players actually to have a separate B and a separate A team. They actually had multiple A members having to sub down and off roles just because they didn't have a large enough club. Luckily enough, here we are now today, week 7, and they have more than enough members who can compete and play in different roles, and that's why we're seeing so many players playing now. Shout out again to both the coaches as well, Coach Josh Cobb, the coach of Rockbridge High School, and Coach Michael Sammons, the coach of Battle High School, who's allowing different players to play. You're sitting on the bench in substitute positions and allowing them to come in and get a taste of what the competitive spirit is like on stage, and it's very exciting to see.
Yeah, definitely. As a coach myself, a lot of players, after seeing the league develop, step up and want to get involved as well. And so I definitely want to try and give as many people a chance to play on stage as possible because I think it's such a great experience.
Yeah, so either way, though, now we're jumping into the picks and bans for both teams. You guys don't know or aren't familiar with League of Legends, specifically the parents or sponsors out there. This is the portion of the game where the coaches can help the players decide who do we want to take off the board, who do we not want to play against, and who do we want to play, what champions do we want to pick. So right off the bat, we see the Darius pickup for Frozen Maelstrom, Lee Tolner in the top lane for Rockbridge High School. They're the blue side, the home team tonight. They're on the left side. And Lee, the team captain of the B team, has Darius almost every single game. I think maybe there's 2 games he was not able to play Darius, and he's always been pretty solid up there in the top lane.
Yeah, he's had solid performances on that champ. Something to note is that Rockbridge have banned 3 mid lane champions, definitely directed at Pauly there. There's no way around that. So, they know he mains mid. They know what they don't want to play against. Again, picking Malzahar into him as well is also a very safe pick. If he does go for an assassin, which it kind of looks like might be his play style, it's very easy to shut down with the Malzahar and just have your team collapse on that with the ult. It looks like he does go for the Yasuo.
Ooh,
Definitely an interesting
very
pick.
exciting. We see some claps out in the audience as well. Pretty exciting to see. Again, Tristan Reed, Mini, in the mid lane for Rockbridge High School, opting, like you said, for that Malzahar pick, something he's been very, very comfortable on. One time, I think he's played Malzahar every single game that they've won, essentially. The last time, only champion else we've actually seen him on was the Caston pick 2 weeks ago into Hickman, I believe. So we know he can perform on this Malzahar pick. He actually just recently switched to the mid lane, I believe. So he's kind of still figuring out that role, potentially. On the other side of the board, though, we're seeing multiple 80 carry bands coming out for Battle, which makes a lot of sense when you look at the dynamic that Rockbridge has. Riley Olinger, Rilo specifically is her name, and she's been the hard carry for all of Rockbridge B's victories. Specifically, I think I said before, we kind of figured out the key to victory. Peel for the 80 carry, help her get fed, and she'll do her job. Because I think she's significantly time in and time out been someone who's able to get multiple kills and stay alive to dish out that damage.
Yeah, and on that note, talking about peeling for the 80 carry, Braum and Alistar banned by Rockbridge, 2 huge tanks in the bot lane that can really keep your 80 carry alive, just make sure that they're not jumped on. Riley picking up the Jinx, a champion that she's performed very well on in previous weeks, and paired with the Thresh can actually be a really scary bot lane. And it looks like Battle picking up the Tark in response maybe. Just looking to keep their team alive. One thing that I do notice right off the bat is that Battle High School lacks a lot of magic damage.
Yeah, specifically with the attack damage mid laner, that's normally where you'd have like your mage position. There's 2 types of damage in League of Legends, that being magic damage and physical damage, specifically the 2 different types. And if your entire team kind of focuses on that attack damage sort of element, they won't have any. It allows Rockbridge, I guess, to itemize easier towards defending against that. They'll just have to build armor instead of having to build magic resist on top of it.
Yeah, and that's going to be super important for the Darius, especially, too, because once you get your first damage item, then you usually go tank, and only having to itemize 1, right? You're already building defenses later, but only having to itemize against 1 is actually really helpful for him. So if he does get a lead, he'll probably be unkillable. I can see that happening.
Yeah, and that's looking forward into this game. Something to really be careful of, I guess, is that late game for Rockbridge High School. The Jinx pick again for Rilo, something she's played before. The hyper carry traditionally, something that scales very, very well. The later this game goes, the stronger Rockbridge is going to get. And that's what I kind of like. We talk time in and time out about wave clear specifically. That's something that they have in the mid lane in the Malzahar pick. They will have the ability to stall out a game if they so choose. And potentially get to that late game point where Riley is just single-handedly winning almost every single team fight.
Yeah, the only thing that Battle really has going for them is possibly just locking someone down for so long, right? You have Tarek stun, Sion ulti, Sion, all of his crowd control, Warwick, and Yasuo. That's, if they do land on that Malzahar or the Jinx without the tanks interfering in any way, they will just get one shot. There's no way to build around that, really. Malzahar will itemize a little bit into health, but not nearly enough to keep him alive against all that.
Yeah, I think the matchup in the mid lane, they're really focusing on Pauly, what Charbel is going to play. He ends up picking the Yasuo, and kind of concerned about that. How well does Yasuo do into a Thresh, into the Malzahar ultimate that can suppress him and just lock him down? They do have a lot of CC that's relatively easy to land on a pick like Yasuo, so whether or not he carries on that, it's going to really depend on how well I guess Rockbridge plays. Because in the end, I kind of think that it's going to be about Pauly, how well he's able to get fed, how well he's able to snowball his lane, he's able to roam it and translate that lead. Because we all know a fed Yasuo is not a lot of fun to deal with.
Yeah, I've played enough solo queue to learn that one. Definitely seen both ends of it, though, too. You can go a little bit too ham, and maybe he underestimates Mini and just has an unfortunate game in the mid lane. Behind Yasuo, also doesn't do too much. He'd probably, once he gets about 2 or 3 items, he will get that 100% crit, and he is useful about basically no matter what his score is. So if he can get to about that point, and they're a little bit ahead, I think they'll be in a good spot.
Any thoughts as well? Tyler, who do you think is going to walk away with this game? If you guys had to place bets, got to do it every single time. Which team comp do you prefer? Take away the players aside, which one looks a little bit stronger?
I think just in general that Rockbridge has a lot of synergy, especially with the fact that they do not have any roster changes, while Battle does. But I do like all the crowd control that Battle has, and the double exhaust, which I'm sure will be definitely targeted more towards Rilo. So I would like to see Battle pull this out, but I do think that Rockbridge will ultimately take the win.
Yeah, another solid draft by Coach Bismarck on the side of Rockbridge. We're going to see if Battle High School has the tools necessary. Again, they're playing very traditional picks. Battle High School not opting to take away any of those comfort picks that Rockbridge has traditionally kind of fallen back on. So we're going to see if maybe Coach Salmons over there has drafted the answer to this Jinx, to the Malzahar, to the Darius in the top lane. But of course, though, while we're waiting, though, it's super exciting. The Spectators delay just ended, so the players have already been playing for the last 3 minutes. We're about to jump into it ourselves to start spectating the game. And yeah, currently both these rosters, the Rockbridge B, the Battle B, are sitting at a 1-1 record. So this will end up taking the tiebreaker between the two. And got to be like a lot's on the line here. It's very exciting actually when you're coming into the last round robin and there's actually stuff at stake here. Someone hasn't already ran away with a 2-0 lead. So for a lot of these players here, and we all know that this is the first league, the first time this is actually happening in Columbia Public Schools, Jefferson City Public Schools, and no one wants to be at the bottom and everyone wants to be at the top. So see if some of these picks they've opted for are they're going to pay off. And yeah, I'm very, very excited. The last couple of weeks of games have just been incredible. The growth from some of these teams, the synergy that they've brought together, some of the different dynamics, some of the drafts, and hopefully as well, a lot of these players themselves will just feel more comfortable playing with some of their teammates.
Yeah,
We're
definitely.
building communities, and it's very exciting to see. Yeah, but either way, jumping into this game right now, we want to highlight which players are which. Just so people in the audience, players, teachers, people want to watch this VOD later on, find out, hey, that's my son playing League of Legends in a high school. So here right now in the top lane, we have Lee Frozen Maelstrom Tolnir playing the Darius pick, the Dunk Master. He's picked it multiple times before, and he's the rock in the top for Rockbridge B squad. In the jungle position for Rockbridge High School, we have Jordan Taylor, JT Plays 3. JT Plaz 3. Actually, he doesn't like to be called JT Plays. He can't really stop it, though, unfortunately. Sorry about that. He is playing Zach, though. We've seen this again, time and time again. It's actually probably a cornerstone of the Rockbridge composition. Zach played multiple times by both the A and the B team junglers. And the mid lane, of course, we have Tristan Mini Reed playing this Malzahar pick in the mid lane. A very comfortable pick for him. Has a lot of different tools. Has the wave clear, has the damage, has the crowd control. And we're going to see if he pull it out here. He's looked pretty solid on that pick. And, of course, the carry for Rockbridge B squad, we have Rilo Oldinger in the bot lane on this Jinx pick. The gun-toting, Gatling gun, rocket-shooting, scary marksman lady. Again, we're going to see what happens. I'm sure we're going to be saying her name a lot as she potentially carries this team to victory. And, of course, her partner in crime in the bottom lane, the support, Dawson Kroom Dasso on the Thresh pick. Big Thresh, or big hook-wielding kind of character. Also, a pick we haven't seen out of him yet in the bot lane.
Yeah, and definitely a hard pick just to kind of pull out. Hopefully there's been a lot of work put into that Thresh because Threshers can be really hit or miss. If you can't hit the hooks, if your flays are poor, then the champ really doesn't do much for the team. But going over to battle side, this is the Scion.
Nodal 314. He's actually one of the newest players for Battle. It's actually, if you didn't know, it's actually Landon backwards. Landon Veers is actually his real name. Yeah, he was supposed to be the support for tonight's B team game, but due to some roster switches, he somehow ended up in the top lane. So, see how well he does up there.
Yeah, and then in the jungle, Sir Klein, usually the mid laner for this B team, has had really good performances, especially on that Swain in previous weeks, but now, again, due to the roster changes, playing that jungle role on the Warwick. This is a champ we've seen a few times before. He's really basically just a big wolf that likes to hunt people. Moving to the mid lane, Polly on this Yasuo. This is a kind of lone wolf, almost ninja-like kind of champ who will be dashing in and out of the fights, using his tornadoes and the ability of his wind powers that he can harness there to knock people up and do a lot of damage in team fights. In the bottom lane for battle, we have Sivir, the boomerang-toting mercenary there. She does a ton of area of effect damage. If she hits one person, her boomerang will just chain to everyone around her and do a ton of damage. And paired with her is the Taric, kind of the gemstone master. He is there to stun people around him and his AD carry, give shields and heals, just a really classic support. And his ultimate, his most important ability, will make his team invulnerable for a few seconds.
Yeah, again, pretty solid bot lane down there. They actually started playing together when they first started playing this game. It's Evan Young in the bot lane in the support position and Kobe McCollum in the AD carry position. And I believe Evan's actually pretty new to this game. He actually just started when this league came out, and since then he's been promoted to the A team. So it's kind of like a reunion down there in the bot lane, playing now on the B team due to some substitutions that are going on.
Yeah, and Paulie taking a really bad trade here against the Malzahar. Maybe not knowing he couldn't block the minions with the wind wall there, and just really ineffective trade going in. You know, maybe he's feeling a little bit too confident, like we mentioned before. Now, Malzahar is out of mana, but the Yasuo is definitely way too low of HP to really contest anything here.
I also think he's not respecting Malzahar's passive of being able to not take a damage from a skill initially, not doing that.
Yeah, he used his Q on it, which is kind of his only crowd control, right? Without the knock-up from the tornado, he's really not doing much except from running at you.
So pretty big trade there in the mid lane. Malzahar is almost out of ammo though, or ammo. Tristan's out of mana. Essentially the ammo is what allows him to cast spells. So again, Yasuo actually doesn't use any energy to use his abilities. He just has cooldown. So maybe that matchup will go a little bit differently, although it looks like they're opting to recall instead.
Yeah, Malzahar probably hitting that point where he can buy his tier and just get stacking on that. Something that he'll look to do so he can get lane priority later. A nice thresh hook landing on the backline, though. The Lantern to dodge the stun as well, and Zach showing up. A good flash by IC Mr. Ram to get out of there, but yeah, Taric just caught in the wrong place. Actually used his flash there, too. I'm not sure where it went. Maybe used it the last second when he was already dead, but a really nice play made by that Thresh in the bot lane.
Yep, yeah, great hook, and you got to give it the first play going over to Rockbridge High School. But you got to know Jordan Taylor, JT plays, JT Plaz. I got to stop saying JT plays. JT Plaz. Let's call him JT. He likes to be called JT actually. JT actually looked like he was turning around. He had been in the bot lane for a little bit there, and he just started walking away from the river when they saw the Thresh hook. So he had to turn around. He came in and got the first blood. So well played by him to at least have the awareness. Not really sure, actually, if the bot lane would have picked up the kill there initially if he wasn't around. Elsewhere, though, on the other side of the map, in the top lane, we actually see a 30 CS differential in the top lane. When we talk about CS, that's your minion kills. When you last hit a minion, it grants you gold, and gold allows you to buy items, lets you get stronger. Also, level 6, though, got by the triggered by the Malzahar, uses it to suppress Polly.
Just probably out of the tower range. Probably something that he was hoping for there. It will chunk the Yasuo a little bit down, but definitely probably a misuse of the ultimate, as Yasuo is using his potions to heal back up. And if he lands a Q, he can probably go for the ult here. Zach trying to CC. The wind wall on the stretching strike. A lot of that Malzahar damage coming down, though. And it looks like he's going Hexdrinker first in the mid lane, so he is delaying that crit. But, you know, it doesn't seem to be affecting his damage too much yet.
Yeah, Yasuo has this specific passive that allows him to basically double his critical chance. So when he gets 50% chance, he actually has 100% chance. Critical hits, by the way, obviously deal more damage when he lands them. The 100% crit just means he's going to be dealing so much damage. That's kind of the whole Yasuo mechanic. You get your crit chance, and all of a sudden you start dealing crazy damage. And like you said before, he's delaying it a little bit, though, opting for his magic resist item, so he's not going to take as much damage from Tristan in the mid lane. Yeah, but also, like I said before, on the top lane of the map, though, Landon, Veers, The newer player who's in the top lane, he's supposed to be a support, a little bit behind up there, down by almost 40 CS. To put that perspective, 15 minion kills is about equal to 1 kill. So he's
so
down
if you
by
look
a
at the gold
significant
lead
amount.
at the top, it's now about 1,000 gold ahead for Rockbridge. And that definitely takes into account the first blood, but also this massive CS lead in the top lane.
And it's something that's, I guess, kind of traditional of Rockbridge specifically. When you look at all of their games, they're pretty good at pulling ahead early on, just across the board, even without different team fighting. So a lot of their laners are very good individually, and it kind of goes to show when you see it on the map when they just start pulling ahead by these significant CS leads, CS differentials, and even just the solo kills across the board.
Yeah, it looks like Warwick might try and solve this dragon. No, just clearing vision. But that Infernal Drake should be a top priority for either of these teams. Infernal Drake does increase the amount of damage that you do on all the players on your team. So if you're able to secure that objective, super important because you'll always be fighting in League. It's generally considered the most important dragon. Actually, a really clever pink ward here in the Dragon Pit as well. Okay, we'll get spotted by Malzahar, but Thresh actually didn't see that one. So if Malzahar wasn't roaming down, probably would have went unseen there.
Things have slowed down though, actually. The last couple of weeks, we've seen some really high-profile, high bloodbathy kind of games. A lot of team fighting, a lot of ganks going on, and for this Wednesday afternoon, this Wednesday evening, it's pretty slow.
Yeah, from what I've been watching on the B team games, especially recently, is the more the teams have kind of learned to play like a team-oriented style, there's been a lot less action, but when there is action, it's a lot more explosive, right? So you're going to see a lot less solo kills and a lot more, team plays like teleporting and really coordinated ganks or roams and stuff like that. So, this downtime isn't too uncommon anymore, especially from the first few weeks. I feel like there were a few fiestas, but no, the teams are definitely a lot more coordinated than when they started, and it's actually very refreshing to see.
Yeah, I saw the roam coming up to the top lane by Charbel Poly, and actually there were no wards to spot him on his way up there, so good awareness by Frozen, Maelstrom, Lee Tolnir in the top lane to just back off and kind of run into him there. An unsuccessful gank, unsuccessful roam. It also looked like Tristan, Mini Reed also walked up there to try to maybe match it, but Charbel had already made it back to the mid lane. Looks like, though, the Zac is already getting suppressed, though, by the Malzahar. Ultimate comes out. He
actually overshooting the jump. He will land the stretching strike, but he's not going to hit anyone with it to pull the Yasuo back, and that's given them enough time for Warwick to show up. Malzahar with no ult will just get blown up there.
Yeah, good counter gank there by Sir Klein, Nathaniel Klein, the jungle position. And you gotta wonder there, Charbel had his third proc, had the tornado, allowed him to get his ultimate. And you saw him hesitate there. He wasn't really sure, am I going to throw it at the Zac? Can I kill? He's opting instead to throw it at the Malzahar instead.
Just not enough damage yet to get through that Hex Drinker. I think that definitely helped him out in this situation, considering Zac and the Malzahar deal significant magic damage early. And if you look at the Zac build, he actually went straight for tabbies. Now, I know we said the armor was really important for this build, but, that really only... The tabbies without any health doesn't really do a whole lot for you. It's still nice. Because they made that play on mid, they are able to secure this dragon. Hopefully, just able to smite it in time. And again, that is a huge pickup for Battle High School there. Will help them scale really well into late game.
Yeah, and that's, again, one of those neutral objectives that you said before. Obviously, they should prioritize it. It gives their entire team damage as the game goes on. And, good objective control. A battle, though, is still currently down by about 700, 800 gold. A lot of that is attributed to the CS differentials in the top lane and also in the AD carry position. Both down almost 60 CS in the top lane and 30 CS in the bot lane. So that's a pretty big deal, or 20 CS, I guess, in the bot lane. That's a pretty big deal, pretty significant. And it just means that Battle is going to have to find either good roams from the jungle and the mid laner and try to snowball some of those lanes, get them some kills, gold in their pockets.
Yeah, the nice thing about Sion is even though you're behind, your ultimate is still such a useful ability when we get to the team fights that, if he can get a recall off here soon and then get a lot of armor and start minimizing the losses, that's really what it's about, because there's no beating this Darius in lane, especially from a tank's point of view. So all he has to do is just not die, right? Get as much CS as he can without dying and then contribute later when the team fights start happening. And that's really all you can ask of him here, especially as a new player as well, right into the team.
Yep, so I kind of like them, I guess, putting that onto the tankier pick, something that's kind of simpler, has a very defined role for his team. And otherwise, though, things just slowing back down, which is, again, perfectly fine. And again, sometimes being slower isn't necessarily a bad thing as teams develop more coordination, they develop more awareness. And you look at pro games, like, ooh.
Yeah, it looks like Darius overstaying in the bush, forced to flash, and Pauly with the roam to the top lane will finish it off with Sir Klein. Maybe just a little bit greedy trying to back in that top bush, and there Darius did get punished for it.
Yeah, not expecting it. My laner's not here. The Scion just recalled, and all of a sudden the jungler and the mid laner are up here. Possibly very unexpected by Elite Tolnir, but another pickup though.
Yeah, and maybe just a little disrespectful too, because they did ping the Warwick. They knew he was there, and Darius did see him coming, so just not thinking maybe he could get there in time. It looks like Warwick did ult, so maybe he threw himself into the bush kind of blindly and caught a Darius.
Caught it, yeah. And you look at the win conditions, though, for Battle High School, and then one of them being letting Pauly Charbel kind of get ahead on this Yasuo pick. He's already pulling ahead in CS over Tristan, about 20 CS. Ooh, Zach misses the ultimate.
Yeah,
he's
voids
probably
the
going to walk
grab
out.
there. The Malzahar ult is up, and I think Thresh is in the area? No, Thresh is back in base, so it probably just would have been a wash again, right? Because Yasuo was a little bit ahead in that 1v2 situation, so not sure how much they could have done. If they pulled him under tower, there's definitely a kill that they could have made, but...
And actually, we're taking into account when we're watching this performance by Charbel in the mid lane. Now that Gabriel Clapp is back on the A team for the AD carry position for Battle High School, not really sure if that's going to be it for the foreseeable future or if that's just kind of maybe just a hot fix for now. But Pauly, I guess being the second best mid laner on Battle High School, this actually might be his main position, and he could potentially be terrorizing the BT mid laners for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and here we can see the Darius really pulling ahead in the 1v1. Now that he got a Phage and the boots, he's able to outspeed the Scion, and once he gets one hit, he can catch up completely. Looks like there is a fight actually going on in the mid lane. A solo kill going down, and it looks like Malzahar used Flash and Ultimate, so tried to lock down the Yasuo, wasn't successful, and he did pay for that with his life.
And something that goes, again, I think Rockbridge did draft the tools. We talked a little bit before about having an answer for a pick like Yasuo, who just moves around a lot. We talk about like hyper carries and champions that are traditionally able to solo carry games, specifically in solo queue. Yasuo is definitely one of those picks. Actually, if you think of solo queue kind of champions, Yasuo is one of those. And Charbel, Pauly has started to pull ahead here. 2-0-1, up by 20 CS. Let's see if he can roam and start translating some of this lead here.
J-Plat's jumping into the bot lane. Again, not able to get any pull on the stretching strike, and the Sivir just running forward. Just kind of a wash in the bot lane, but it looks like on the top side of the map, Battle is securing the Rift Herald, so this is a net gain for them. The bot lane was able to just kind of dodge the pressure, and yeah, that worked out really well for them. And we can see the gold lead is actually back to even, so just from maybe the mid lane kills, it is able to overcome that CS differential in the top lane.
Yeah, gold is actually even right now, almost exactly. Ooh, Flash coming out the top
Yeah,
lane.
not looking good. He will use the ult to get away. Very smart use of it there, because without it, he probably was dead to rights. Darius, again, with that Phage, can just keep up with you forever, and the slow on his auto reset.
Yep. Good awareness by Landon Beers in the top lane. He actually isn't even a level 30 player yet, so again, very, very new at this game, and that shows a lot of discipline, a lot of control, and something that even experienced veterans of League of Legends sometimes don't understand. I probably don't want him to get this kill. I should just back out, use my ultimate instead to escape.
Yeah, Warwick just going to cover. This isn't terrible. Warwick went ahead, can be very strong, so even though Scion is missing a lot of this experience in gold, funneling it onto the Warwick is not bad, right? Because if Warwick ever runs into Zac, he's 2 levels up now, and that's a huge advantage. Into tank junglers, Warwick does exceedingly well in that 1v1. So maybe we'll see some invades come out later. Hopefully he can abuse that matchup strength he has there.
Yeah, Nathaniel Klein, Sir Klein, a very versatile player. You've seen him pop off multiple times in the mid lane. He's actually going to be playing top lane tonight on the A-team roster. I think top lane's actually his main role. And here he's in the jungle position, also doing very, very well.
Yeah, it's great to see that a lot of these players can step up when their team needs them to, performing pretty well on off roles as well as their main roles. It's definitely good to see participation as much as they can.
And that looks like the mid lane tower for Rockbridge High School is getting rather low. Tristan Mini not quite there to defend it. Potentially, but we do know that Yasuo also has the Rift Herald in his possession, so I'm not sure if he might just opt to try to take this tower. He is indeed. He's currently spawning the Rift Herald in the mid lane.
Yeah.
It will take the first tower of the game over to Battle High School.
And it doesn't look like there's anyone in the area to stop it. You can use crowd control on it, but it looks like in the jungle, Warwick able to just kind of get out of that fight. And it looks like they're going to try and start up the dragon, even though Rockbridge is in the area. It looks like they're going to try and collapse on mid instead and trade for this objective. And this is where Pauly being a little bit too overconfident might get him caught out, but it looks like they're respecting him way too much. He's walking past 3 members of the Rockbridge team just by himself.
Yeah,
he's
unafraid.
going crazy deep on into this jungle.
Oh, did not
his
have vision though,
ultimate.
the knockup.
Yeah. The Warwick going in, the Tarkle coming down, they're invulnerable now, and Evan getting caught by the Yasuo knockup.
Oh,
Yasuo flashing over,
Pauly.
will check the Jinx as well. A huge pick onto 4 people in the Rockbridge jungle. A crazy fight just kind of coming out of nowhere. Pauly believing in his team that they can follow up, and definitely able to back up that belief there.
And I actually kind of lost track of it, but Battle High School is currently up 2 dragons and 6 kills right now.
Yeah, huge lead from them, and not what you'd expect, right? But this is what they need, right? We talked about their team comp being all attack damage focused, and if you don't get a lead early on, if you let your opponents itemize into that armor, you're not going to have fights like that. You're going to be going all in and doing no damage. So they definitely lead. Yeah, we'll take a look at that replay.
And so if you didn't remember what happened earlier, Yasuo had already taken on the mid tower, had some pressure there. Looks like the jungler from Rockbridge tries to steal the Drake, but in the end though, Yasuo is just trying to 1v2 here. He's going straight for that backline. He knows Riley is the main carry, finds the blast code, they both go over the pit. Riley does escape though. The rest of his team's able to catch up. They pick up the jungler, they pick up the mid laner, and that's a 3-0 for Yasuo right now.
And something that happened there that we actually missed, Thresh threw the lantern back on Rockbridge's side, and someone on Rockbridge's team took the lantern while Warwick was queuing on them and actually grouped them all up for Yasuo. So just a really series of unfortunate events there.
Yeah, very, very good job though by Battle High School right there. It just kind of showed they were on the same page. They were very coordinated. Even when they were split, when the Yasuo was ahead, the entire team was able to group up and really focus in on Tristan and JT when they got caught out there in the jungle. Now the bot lane was able to escape, but Yasuo also flashed over the wall there right at the end of that replay and picked up the kill there as well.
Yeah, able to push that lead even further. Now, they weren't able to get any objectives out of that, but it definitely got them a sizable gold lead. Now they're about 2,500 gold ahead, which in this early game does mean a lot for them.
Yeah, so we're kind of already out of that laning phase specifically, but Tyler, again, you're a support main for the most part here, and I don't really know if you play Tarek or Thresh, but if you start getting later on in this game, which one of the supports do you think is going to have more pressure?
With the synergy that is coming from just the overall teamwork with a battle, I think that Tarek ultimately is going to have the leg up on Thresh here with his crowd control and his ability to disengage, and also his ultimate, which helps reduce a lot of the damage that the teams are going to be taking. So I think ultimately Tarek is going to really benefit the team late game more than Thresh will.
Yeah, we kind of saw that there right there at the end, the ultimate coming out from the Tarek when the entire battle team was gripped up there in the jungle. Even though multiple members of Rockbridge were down, there's not a whole lot we could do. If you're the Thresh, though, what do you got to be looking for,
From
right?
the Thresh's point of view, like, you can get one hook, right? But then if Tarek ults, that kind of negates your playmaking pressure. So not only you can't just make one good play, you have to make multiple good plays. And that can be hard on Thresh and in the heat of a team fight. Even if you catch someone out, they get Tarek ulted, then you have to make another play to get your team into the fight. And so it's really all about consistency on the Thresh for this one.
Yeah, and again, we're kind of really lost track of it here, but Battle is significantly far ahead right now. If you're Rockbridge High School, and again, you're trying to play the scaling game, right? Well, what do you need to do right now to get your team kind of find a foothold to get back into this game?
Well, it looks like there's a play going on in the top lane, and this is exactly what you need, right? So Well, actually, for battle side, this is what you need, right? You need people to keep overextending. There wasn't anyone to back him up in that top lane. There's not a lot of ward coverage on the top side. The jungler is also on the bot side for Rockbridge, and so you can't play aggressively in a situation like that where you have no teammates behind you to back you up. And so, again, Sion setting up that Yasuo. Even though this Sion is almost 100 CS down in lane, he's still so valuable to this team. Just a really good pickup overall, I think. And it looks like another fight breaking down in the bot lane. The Terror Cult went down already, so Sivir is zoned out of the fight. Tark's stun gonna go down on the Darius, and it will just kind of end the fight there. Jinx ult goes out, not gonna hit anyone. But now that Sivir has to recall, it is a 2v3 situation in the bot lane, and Zac is hovering as well. So they could look to dive this maybe on the next creep wave. But Yasuo is pushing in the mid lane, so if they don't make a decisive decision here, they will lose a lot of pressure in the mid and possibly the tower. Yeah, and it looks like they're not going to respond to this fast enough. Mid will go over, and so the Tower Cult, again, preventing Rockbridge from making anything happen. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, Battle can just take an objective for free.
Yeah. And we talk a lot about kind of split pushing compositions here, and essentially it doesn't look like it, but it sort of is a split push comp right now from Battle when you take into account. It's going to take multiple members to take down Polly. And this 305 Yasuo pick, he is so strong. One member of Rockbridge can't stop a Yasuo.
Yeah, and you know, we talk about Landon here being a new player, but he's performing really well, especially on the team side of things, right? His team was committing to the bot side, so he just backed off on top and made sure that he wasn't overextended. It might not look like a lot, but in the grand scheme of things, he's minimizing the opportunities for the enemy to make a comeback, and that's really what you need across the board, right? If everyone can have that mindset of team play, and just kind of playing for your team objectives and not your personal objectives, you will succeed in League of Legends.
Yes, significantly, yes. Down 100 CS, but a better KDA in the top lane. Team player all the way around.
Yeah, it looks like the Dragon has just spawned. Both teams kind of positioning on the bottom side of the map to look to take this. It is a mountain, so that could definitely help a lot on both sides, right? Denying it from Rockbridge. Jinx can take turrets so fast. The hook goes down onto Sivir. Not going to be followed up on, though. Again, yeah, Taric is there. Everyone has their ultimates, so following that hook in might have been a death sentence for Thresh. Yeah, Vision is getting denied. If we check what both teams can see, this is currently Rockbridge's vision. They have no vision on the Dragon. Meanwhile, Battle sees the enemy coming, and they have control of the objective. It looks like they might be going for a smite fight, but no, a huge knockup by the Yasuo onto the backline. Zac pulling 3 people in, but the Tarkle will go down just in time to keep his entire team alive. Another 3-man knockup from the Yasuo, and he is just shredding through everyone. Malzahar will go down, but it's a little bit too late. Darius not getting the execute on his dunk, and that is almost a clean ace. Yeah. I don't think... It says Zach's alive, but I don't see him anywhere. Oh, there he is. Okay, yeah, he was able to make it out in the back end recall.
Incredible Warwick ultimate there. We're actually going to check it out right here. Actually, not quite yet. We're back to it because they're still pushing.
Yeah, with that lead, with 4 people dead and double Mountain Drakes, they're going to shred through these objectives. The Mountain Dragon gives you extra damage to turrets and neutral objectives like the Baron and Dragon. So they're able to take this without any consequence. Hopefully backing out here. Yeah, not going for the win yet. Would be a little ambitious. They might go for this top tower, though.
Okay, this looks like they're starting to pull ahead. We already knew they're pulling ahead, but they're actually starting to secure those win conditions. The inhibitor going down, they're going to start spawning super minions in that lane. A lot more pressure. They're so strong, and so they're kind of put in a great position to potentially go for that Baron after this recall. Like you said, a little bit though, they might be being a little over ambitious here, going for this tower. They should have just recalled. Looks like they're trying to back off.
Yeah, not only did they win the objective trade, right? They won the fight and they got the mid towers, but they also are sitting on a lot of gold. So if they continue to fight, if they go for this Baron, they might actually be behind in effective gold, right? Because when you get gold, you have to go back to base and spend it. And if you don't spend any of your gold, you're actually weaker than your opponent who just died, respawned, and spent their gold. So here they are. They're gonna hopefully all back as a team, maybe not. Either way, well, let's look take
replay. Yeah, brought to you guys by Veterans United. That wouldn't be possible otherwise. So like we said before, they're positioning around this Dragon. Rockbridge doesn't have vision of it, and Battle is just wailing on it. It's going down really, really low. Right here, though, Yasuo lands a 4-man tornado, knocks up 4 members of Rockbridge High School. They're all focusing on the Yasuo while Zach lands an excellent ultimate, bringing the entire teams together. Multiple tornadoes coming out, though, but it's the ultimate right there by the Warwick, Sir Klein, that is able to hit the Jinx, hits Riley, locks down the priority target, the must kill, and go down. And that's kind of what prevents Rockbridge from having any sort of chance of pulling ahead in that team fight. So great targeting.
Honestly, this Taric pick has really been the key to all of these fights. Every time Rockbridge try to make a play in the bot lane, it just gets turned around and kind of nullified, right? Which allows Battle to take something on the other side of the map, and they've been doing that consistently every time.
Yeah.
And that's really what it's come down to. Darius minimizing, any kind of pressure that Darius could have, and then in the bot lane, the Taric really pulling through for them.
Yeah, you said right before that fight, you kind of talked about vision denial. Battle actually had 5. They currently still have 5 right now. 5 control wards compared to, just in their inventory, compared to Rockbridge's 2. Tyler, what exactly do control wards do? What's the whole point of buying this?
Control wards provide ongoing vision until the enemy team takes them out or until you replace it. You can only buy one at a time, or you can only place one at a time, and those just keep vision there, and then you can see when someone takes it out.
Now they also deny vision from other wards too, just normal wards. So that's kind of exactly why Rockbridge couldn't see in the pit. They had wards in there, but because of the control wards placed by Battle, they couldn't see what was going on. You can take into account kind of information that's very important in League of Legends. Vision is the #1 thing. When you think of where I can fight, where I can go, where's the enemy team at. It's so important to be on top of your vision game. Like right now, Rockbridge High School doesn't know exactly what Battle's doing up here. They have no clue, no vision what's going on.
Walking down might give them kind of a hint that it's going on, but again, no vision on that. They can only make their best guess, and the Baron dying does let them know that it was taken.
So Baron, again, one of those win conditions to close out a game of League of Legends. It does allow a team to buff all of their minions in a lane and allows them to push even quicker. They do also have the super minions in the mid lane, so it looks like Battle is opting to group in the top lane and try to force down another inhibitor tower.
Yeah, and if Battle just play this slow, right, someone will have to go clear that super minion wave pushing the mid lane. If no one responds to this super creep pushing in, it will just destroy the Nexus and basically win the game alone. For them. So all they have to do is take this slow, wait for someone to go and clear those super minions, and then engage the fight. And it looks like Battle are going to realize that no one's been sent back to the Nexus yet, but they will just give up that outer turret. There's still 5 people strong standing here, and it looks like Thresh will go and try and slow down the creeps, but if they don't send anyone with damage back, they're going to lose Nexus towers. It looks like there's a lot of damage already going down. Again, Thresh is not the person that needs to be doing this. They need at least, their mid laner. There we go. Darius will help out now. Same with Zach. But again, it puts them in a bad spot. There are only 2 people defending this, and Battle know that. They will walk in for free, take this inhibitor tower, and probably the second inhibitor of the game. And it will just continue to snowball unless Rockbridge makes a play here. A hook onto Taric. Again,
not the person you want to hook.
Yeah, not the right person. And again, like we said, it's so hard for the Thresh to engage because the Taric ult will just go down, and you can't win the fight for those 3 seconds. Unless this happens, though. A lot of suppression going down. The flash heal will get that Sivir out just in time.
It looks like they get the inhib, and they're out. A great pick. That's one of the people they wanted to pick off. Either Pauly, Yasuo in the mid lane, or Kobe McCullough, the AD carry for Battle. One of the 2 people they wanted to pick off. They got it. We're able to kill, though. End up burning both sums. He's able to escape, and they get a free inhibitor on the top.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was a really good pick, right? Catching the Sivir out in the front with the Thresh Hook, then using the Malzahar ult. But like we said, this Taric is able to use the Locket to actually keep Sivir alive just long enough so that he can flash and heal out. Really unfortunate there because I thought that was, we were talking about what they needed to do, right? They needed to get a pick, and I feel like that was it.
Yeah, excellent job by Battle High School. Just even though they were losing lanes early on, they were playing losing lanes down by significant CS leads. Here they are now. They have stronger items, and they're kind of trying to close out this game. They're doing exactly what they need to do to close out this game before Rockford is in a position to stop it. Riley only has 2 completed items. The Malzahar, also Tristan, only has 2 completed items. They just aren't able to compete with these 3, almost 4 item characters, champions on the side of Battle High School.
Yeah, the gold lead has accrued to about about 10,000 gold. And if we look in the top lane, right, we remember this Darius struggling, or no, sorry, the Scion struggling so hard against the Darius. But if you look at the items, they basically both have 2.5 items now, even though the CS is such a huge differential. So all of the towers that Battle has taken, all of the fights they've won have really helped contribute to this Scion and make sure that he catches back up in terms of relative strength.
Yeah. And honestly, again, we talked. All three of us agree that Rockbridge had the stronger composition here. Tyler, in your opinion, what did they do incorrectly? What could they have done to kind of prevent this 12-1 deficit?
They did not focus enough on preventing Pauly, aka Yasuo, from roaming. His and helping get many more CS and preventing Yasuo from bowling him out of lane so much. Pauly was able to utilize his wave clear to help him roam more effectively while also using his knowledge of vision and wards.
Huge fight breaking out though. Looks like they committed for the Malzahar and weren't able to finish him off, and that Jinx with the 2 items still does a lot of damage. Usually you want your AD carry to get to a 3-item spike, but without the Taric ult being used and the Zac getting a nice ultimate there as well, that was actually a lot of damage. So if Battle aren't able to keep these team fights clean and end quickly, you just saw what can happen if this gets later into the game, right?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there. Tristan Mini he's down 5 kills. He's just so much pressure coming out of the mid lane. Great ganks coming out of Circle Line there. And that's what the pressure they have right now. They're just so far ahead. They might not have the better composition. They're all AD, but Rockbridge just doesn't have the damage to compete.
And go back to what we were talking about before. What could Rockbridge have done to maybe create a better situation for themselves? And I do agree it was looking towards the mid lane, right? Because we talked about what happens when they went bot. Taric was able to just kind of negate any of their pressure. And so if they went mid, the Yasuo is pretty immobile. And you do have the lockdown there with the Malzahar. So I believe that was probably the right play for them. Unfortunately, they just didn't realize it early enough. Or when they tried to, it didn't work. So a little bit on the execution side there as well. The mid inhibitor has respawned, and it looks like Battle are just going to try and reclaim it. Baron's not up for another minute and 40 seconds, so there's not a huge neutral objective that they can just take. So they're going to try and just brute force this down. Scion is pushing in the bot lane, so maybe after they get this, they can rotate. The hook onto Sivir, though. She will use the ultimate to get all the way in the back line. Malzahar DOT taking down.
But the Taric ultimate doesn't land on anyone.
Yeah, but a huge fight. Darius getting so many stacks on all of these people, and it looks like the fight is going to go so south for Battle High School. Rockbridge getting to the point where they are strong enough to maybe live through the Taric ult, and Scion in the bot lane not able to help his team out. Maybe a little bit of miscommunication there, but another great hook by Dawson. We're going to get a little bit of a replay on that fight.
And I think, like you said before, they're trying to brute force this inhibitor. They think they're strong enough, but Rockbridge does have the tools. They have so many engaged tools, and they get the right hook right here. Somehow he lands the hook on the AD carry. Now the Taric ultimate will go on the two, on himself and the person he's bound with, but Sivir is so far behind that ultimate doesn't land on the rest of his team. So for the first time in this game, they don't have that invincibility, and Rockbridge runs him over. I do have to point out, though, that top Scion landed wasn't there as well. He was trying to push the bot lane, so it was a 4v5, but that's the pick that Rockbridge needs. The gold lead now cut down to 6,000 gold instead of the 10,000 that it was a little bit ago. A lot of shutdown bonuses going down for across the board for the first bloods going over from Yasuo, from Sir Klein.
Yeah,
that's big.
And again, we look at what Rockbridge is building. They've itemized tabbies across the board. Now what the Ninja Tabby does is your boot choice gives you armor, and it also reduces the amount of damage that auto attacks do. So all of these melee attack damage champions or your AD carries, they all auto attack for their main damage source, and you're reducing it by 10% across your entire team. That's huge. Now, the Baron is live now. We can see that both teams are kind of positioning around it, trying to deny vision, but there's that one ward that's letting Battle know that they haven't started, that lets Rockbridge know that Battle has not started the Baron yet. We can see this is Rockbridge's point of view. They know they haven't started, They just see them running around.
Yeah, this is so important for Rockbridge. If Battle does secure this Baron, it's likely they'll get the double inhibitor and have enough pressure to potentially even brute force the bottom inhibitor as well. So they have to contest this objective. We will say, though, that we talked before about Riley hitting her scaling points, the late game AD carry marksman, and she's about to complete her 3rd item, which is huge for an AD carry like Jinx.
Yeah, they really don't know this ward is here. They are waiting. What they're doing is they're waiting for Rockbridge to walk into the jungle so they can get a pick first before starting the Baron. But
someone sweep that ward.
yeah, they aren't sure that it's there. So they think they're out of vision, but they're not. And from their side now, they know that with this entire jungle warded, this is what Battle can see, and they know the enemy is not in the area. So they're going to go ahead and start it up.
Yeah, good discipline by Battle, though. Or good discipline by Rockbridge, I guess, for waiting, but they just opt to give them the Baron for free. I don't understand that play at all. They didn't have waves pushing in. Both their inhibitors were up. Rockbridge knew they were in the area. I don't understand why they gave up that entire objective for free. They did just win the last team fight. That was probably the closest point, the closest position in this game that they needed to pull the trigger on.
Yeah, and Battle are going to run right down to the Elder Dragon. Now what this does is it gives you a powerful combat buff. So the Baron helps you push the minions into the towers and take objectives, where the Elder Dragon is geared towards fighting. So if Battle's able to secure this, they'll have both the objective and the fight buff. And in addition to damage, it doubles what your elemental drakes that you took earlier give you. So, you know, they'll get double
4
Inferno.
drakes.
4 mountain drakes. They will destroy objectives. It won't even, they'll probably be gone in 1 auto, you know?
If there's an objective to contest now, this is the one. We'll say if they clean ace Rockbridge or Battle High School right here, they do all lose their Baron buff. So Rockbridge can't. They can't let them take this for free as well. Again, there was nothing stopping Rockbridge from contesting them at the Baron. They didn't have waves pushing in. Their inhibitors are up. And they don't have vision around this Dragon Pit like they did the Baron Pit. So Battle does have full control over this objective, although their Baron timer is ticking down. So Battle, it's up to Battle here to make the play and dictate what's going to happen in the next couple of minutes.
Yeah, it looks like now that they've cleared the bot wave, there was a giant wave pushing into Battle's side of the map. They will look to move towards this dragon. Zach getting a little bit caught out.
Good job taking the blast cone over.
Yeah.
There is a ward, though, in the back of the Dragon Pit. Ooh, looks like Battle's going
so both
to
teams
start
will
it.
have vision on this. I think Rockbridge have to respond. If they give this up, it's too late, and it looks like because of the double mountain drakes, it's going over so fast. The Jinx Rocket not able to steal it, but Pauly landing the tornado and going in way too deep. The Tarkal just getting him the invulnerability in time. He will finish off Jinx. That's a huge pick-off in this fight, but he is completely zoned now. A nice fear going down on everyone from Rockbridge, and it looks like the re-engage from the Sivir is coming. The Warwick just chasing everyone down with that Q. Zach abandoning ship, leaving Mini and Frozen Maelstrom to die. This is a 0 for 3 right now with the last Sivir auto
Nice flash
following him, critting and finishing off the Thresh. This is a 1v5 situation for this Zach. And remember, he's down the Elder Dragon and the Baron, so this is most likely going to be the game.
Yeah.
Only 15 more seconds till Jinx respawns. I believe that's going to be too long, though. We'll see how much damage they end up doing to these Nexus turrets in a second. Well, no, wait, they actually don't have any minions.
They can't
I don't think they
towers.
can end.
They should probably recall. I think the most incredible part about that fight, we're going to see it again in a couple seconds, is the targeting by Battle High School. The Dragon's about to go down. Oh,
a little bit of a misclick. They're probably going for the teleport, but hits his slash.
Oh.
We'll pretend no one saw that. We'll look away. Don't worry.
But you're getting back into this replay. The most incredible part of what just happened in that fight, as soon as the Dragon goes down, Pauly, understanding what needs to be done, gets his tornado and ults right over the wall. Same with Sir Klein. They instantly know they're in a stronger position to get the Dragon. They go right over the wall, and you know the one person they kill? They kill Riley. They kill the one person that honestly is going to carry these fights for Rockbridge High School. 4 members of Rockbridge are still alive, but somehow the person that the entire team is supposed to be protecting, Battle, is just able to lock her down and take her out. Yeah. Understanding their win conditions in these team fights and executing them to perfection.
Yeah, and with those 2 inhibitors down now, the top and mid wave will push for free for Battle High School here. So all they need to do is just sit in this bot lane and keep sieging. But it looks like they're all going to reset. Maybe they have some important item spikes to hit. Yeah, it looks like Yasuo finishing that Bloodthirster, finally getting to 4 complete items. And they will probably go for the end on this push if it's possible. The Elder Dragon is only lasting for about 15 more seconds, so it's not going to have an effect on the next fight. And so it will just be an even, as much as it can, right? Even 5v5.
But we're over 12,000 gold down. 4 Drakes. The Elder Drake. They did secure the last Baron. And down 12 kills. Battle has full control in this game. And for the most part, they've been playing the right plays across the board. Gonna be up to them here, though. Can they close out this game? There's really no reason for this game to go on much longer. And if it does, Rockbridge is going to be in a better position.
Yeah, the longer a game goes, again, we're at 40 minutes, and we keep saying longer, but we're getting to 3 or 4 armor items on some of these tanks now, so it might even be at that too late point. Without the Elder Dragon dealing the true damage, let's see how well they're able to cut through these tanks in the front line. They are just kind of moving the creep waves in. Jinx able to clear them extremely well, though, with her rockets. So the minion waves aren't really a threat unless there's a fight going to happen. They will get the 3rd inhibitor, and the only thing left is the Nexus turrets and the Nexus. So there will be a fight soon. Oh, a huge tornado going onto both of the carries of Rockbridge. Tarkalt going down, all of them getting pulled, but right on top of Jinx. That's not what they wanted.
Unfortunate
Rockbridge
ultimate.
will suffer from that Zac ult, and that is definitely going to be the game here. The Jinx just making a great escape there to have the enemy team be brought on top of her. I'm not sure that's what they were looking for. And again, the Tarkalt coming out huge, but these tanks are stalling so hard, giving enough time for Malzahar to reply. Yeah, this push could be stopped. There's a ton of super minions, though, destroying the Nexus towers that they have to respond to. Battle needs to keep up the pressure here. I'm not really sure why they're backing off. It is a 3v4 situation that should be favorable for them, but they are going to take their time here.
And maybe not the right play. Sivir was pretty low, Hobie McCollum, but it's a 4v3 situation. That's a very unfortunate ultimate by JT, the juggle. He lands an excellent 4-man ultimate, but he plops them right on top of Riley.
Yeah.
Right on top of the
only
AD
person
carry.
you need to protect in the game just got handed to the entire enemy team.
And
a little
after she had
unfortunate
just flashed out of the fight, she was picked off by the Yasuo ultimate. Feels oof, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Feels real oof.
It looks like Battle just doing their little dance here again. The Baron will spawn in 30 seconds, so they're playing this extremely safe. They have an 11,000 gold lead, 4 dragons up, but they are making sure that there is no possible way that they could lose this. So instead of risking the fight, they are just going to take the objective on the map and then hopefully close out the game.
Yeah. How do you feel? You're the Taric. You put an ultimate, and all of a sudden your entire team, who is invincible, lands on top of your AD carry. You're trying to defend that Jinx. What are you thinking in that moment?
I am thinking that...
Unlucky.
Yeah, I don't even know.
That's not what we wanted to
How am I going to help this situation? What am I going to
Unlucky.
do to get my team out of here?
Yeah.
All right, and it looks like Battle, now with the triple inhibs, are going to run it down mid.
They have all the tools in their
Yeah,
favor
there's
right now.
literally nothing more that they can do at this time to push their lead. So let's see if they're able to finish out on this push.
The
The
inhibitor
inhib
is
will spawn. They'll
spawning.
make
Yep.
sure they take
Slowing
that
it
too.
down.
They're being very thorough with this victory. They have a commanding lead, but they want to make sure there's no possible way the Rockbridge
well, the top inhibitor has
even gonna
spawned
take
as
the
well.
yeah, the top inhib will go down. We're gonna take a look at this last fight here. It is going to happen. There will be a fight.
Maybe they
At
don't
some
have to. The
point,
super
yeah.
minions are taking the towers without any
These Baroned up super
effort
minions,
by
they need
battle.
to apply Baron to those super minions in the base. There we go. It does get applied by the Yasuo. They're walking the minions in. They
Battle
want,
might not have to do anything.
Yeah, Battle just want the minions to destroy these towers for them for free, avoiding all conflict. They're playing the pacifist game mode here, where they just try not to
Win
fight.
without fighting.
Yeah. They don't want to be
gonna
too
happen.
mean here. They're just... There we go. The Sivir ult's popped. They're going to maybe look to Bum Rush the Nexus. No, they're going to look for the fight. Thresh caught out on the front lines, and it looks like Sir Klein is zoning in the back on that Warwick while everyone else shreds through the Zac, and it looks
Warwick
like Thresh...
is still alive
Yeah,
with
Warwick
4
is
people.
crazy tanking right there against 3. Yasuo finding another 2-man tornado onto the priority targets, and the minions will finish off the Nexus while the fight was going on.
Yeah, very well played across the board there by Battle High School, playing to their win conditions. You look at the top lane, you look at Landon, his first time ever playing in this league, down over 100 CS, not even a level 30 player, up against the rock in the top that is Lee Tolney, or someone who's just a very solid top laner, understands the matchup, understands the champion, and he just can't get any kills. Again, he plays very, very safe. That's something you don't really expect from newer players. They kind of just die over and over, at least in my solo queue games,
Yeah,
that kind
right.
of thing. But again, playing to his win conditions. He did a very good job not giving away any gold. And by the end of the game, he was somehow stronger than Lee, who was up by almost 150 CS.
Yeah, just like the quintessential team player, right? Sacrificing himself for the good of the whole. And yeah, he was, that was probably the hardest matchup lane-wise, and he weathered the storm, so props to him.
And I believe Landon is a support main as well, so like, support doing his best to support his team. But otherwise, a very exciting game. We're probably going to go back and try to break that down a little bit later because we all agreed Rockbridge had the stronger composition, and we break down a little bit more specifically what they could have done to prevent that from happening, or at least find a foothold back in the game. But for a little bit now, we're going to set up the stage for the A-team rosters, the varsity teams for Rockbridge and Battle High School. So we're going to be back in a couple of minutes. Don't click away from those browsers. All right. And we're back after that break. We're on to the A-team games right now. The teams are just finished up their pro drafts, so we're about to hop into picks and bans. Going into it, though, you guys have any thoughts on the last B-team game? Nothing?
Nope.
Nothing. No thoughts. Okay, we summed it up entirely. And then the last couple of seconds before we got into the game. Yeah. Again, you look at what happened, you look at who snowballed, you look at the comp they had. Rockbridge should have won that game. They had all the tools necessary. They drafted an excellent composition, but well played by Battle, finding the little picks here and there, and then playing to the win conditions, even though they were much smaller than Rockbridge's.
Yeah, we talked about it before that game started. If Battle can get a lead and keep a lead, then they can potentially snowball, and they did that. So Rockbridge weren't able to, shut down the mid lane, and they focused their attention bot side where, the Tark was able to negate pressure, and that really won the game for Battle, basically.
And now going into these A-team games here, Rockbridge High School, who is tied for first in the standings, up against Battle, who is, honestly, they're securely right now in the third place standings, only 2 games ahead of Jefferson City. Very unlikely that either one of those teams is going to take the first place spot in this game, or I guess in this league. So sort of just playing now to get better, playing for playoffs potentially. It's unlikely that they're going to find a different standing, a different position. So maybe they're going to try some different unconventional picks here. That's kind of what I'm expecting to see when we're hopping into these last couple of weeks for games. Teams who would know where they're going to be, maybe trying out new things, maybe opting for not as many comfort picks.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, once you are kind of set in your spots, you definitely want to play like spoiler to the top half of the bracket, right? So hopefully Battle are able to do that, maybe pulling out something a little bit different, a little bit interesting, catching Rockbridge off guard.
Yeah.
So that's what we'll look to see here.
Same thing for Rockbridge, though. At the same time, they're securely sitting in at least the second place standings, and at least opposite of Hickman as well when it comes to the post game. And maybe they'll try some newer things. I'd really feel unfortunate if they kept going back and opting for their more comfortable picks, because eventually, hopefully, teams will catch on. I know before there was actually potential talks of side bets going on to potentially leaving up Cameron Claps, Ruling Ocean's Vladimir. Again, he's the one-trick Vladimir, top 100 Vladimir in the world last season. And, we heard bets of even the coach was getting involved. What do I have to give over for you guys not to ban Vladimir? We heard talks of dressing up like Zoe for the rest of the season, stuff like that. But unfortunately, it sounds like Rockbridge, the bus killers that they can be sometimes. A lot of people think of them as like the villains right now in the league, so makes sense. As they were single-handedly stomping some of these teams. Just sheer difference in skill. Unlikely they're going to give them the Vladimir pick. So if picks and bans are ready and complete, we're ready to jump into games, though, if the other teams are. And here we go. We're ready to go.
Awesome.
Yeah, so like we said a little bit ago, we're jumping into the picks and bans for Rockbridge, the number 1 team in this league right now, tied with Hickman High School. They've dominated this league. Other teams, Rockbridge, you think about Battle, you think about Jefferson City. They've closed out numerous games like those in sub 25 minutes. Clean across the board, finding their picks here and there where they need to, and then they translate that pressure across the map, something that Rockbridge is just very, very good at doing.
Yeah, and you see the bands coming out. The Nar and Braum. Sir Klein is actually playing top lane for the B team, for the A team. This is the first time that he's subbed into this role, but it is actually his main role. So Gnar, one of his stronger picks. And on the other side, just some respect fans, the Kaisa and the Kane, two champions that Galaxy Fox and XM have picked up recently. And then finally, obviously, the Vladimir band away from Rilling Ocean and the Camille away from VexQ. Both of their kind of signature most played champions. Poppy pickup on Rockbridge's side. This is a very defensive champion who can stop a lot of mobile champs and also can do a lot of damage in lane. The Alawi to kind of combat that. Both of them have pretty strong lanes, but Poppy does do well into Zac because she can cancel the jump.
Yeah, interesting. I wasn't really sure actually if they're picking the Alawi, if potentially Scrumpy, Nusa El Walid was going to swap to the top lane. Alawi is her signature top lane pick. Not really sure if they're going to swap. Maybe they won't. Maybe they will. Not going to see, though. Well, I guess we'll see. She's in the jungle position right now. So I guess going to play the Zac pick, though. Another comfortable pick for her.
Yeah, Zac is her most played champion, and usually it is banned away. So probably not going to do any lane swaps like they did in previous weeks. And we're just looking at the Trundle and the Swain pickup now for Rockbridge. Trundle does exceedingly well into compositions that have one tank, right? Because you only have one tank. All Trundle does is make that tank useless. He will drain all of their resistances and HP, and it looks like that's kind of how it's turning out for Rockbridge, or for battle side. So a great pickup by Rockbridge. And Swain, just a huge power pick in the mid lane. If he has his ultimate, the team fight is almost unwinnable at certain points, especially once he hits about 2 or 3 items.
And on the other side, we have the Vel'Koz pick go over for Cameron Rilling Ocean. And he's played Vel'Koz before. Really the main source of damage. Really good at finding those ultimates. Hopefully this time he's going to wait. Like one of the things he struggled with the last time he played Vel'Koz specifically was using his ultimate after the enemy team had burned a lot of their interrupting abilities. And no, he's going to really try to focus on doing that this game around. Now the question is going to be though, will their team have enough lockdown for the ultimates from the Alawi, ultimate from the Vel'Koz to keep them in place? Because both of those abilities require them to kind of be still for them to dish out the maximum amount of damage.
Yeah, but the nice thing about the Vel'Koz is, right, Swain's power lies within the circle that his ultimate creates, and if you can deal damage from outside of that, he actually doesn't get any benefit from his ultimate. So Vel'Koz is a champ that can do that, and we see the Draven and Thresh bot lane against the kind of signature Rockbridge Jhin Janna lane. So Rockbridge are known to do exceedingly well, and these two champs play very aggressive, and Draven, Draven, Thresh, not a lot of healing, not a lot of sustain in this lane. So they're going to be looking to fight right back, and it should be a pretty explosive bot lane in my mind.
Yep. Again, newer members for Battle High School. You think about Gabe Clapp. He's actually the brother of Cameron Clapp. And then Lane Story, LG Story. He was actually the B-team support last week. Now up to the A-team games around. And again, actually, Sir Klein, like we said before, normally an A-team player, although he's been, or the B-team player, one of the most solid, most consistent B-team players they have now on his main role in the top lane for A-team. He's actually also a senior as well. So I know the coach mentioned previously, it's kind of a senior night for him, allowing him to play on the A-team for this night. And that's very exciting for him. He's performed very, very well. And like you said before, right before that though, Michael X-Sim and Sean J. Hung in the bot lane, their traditional Jhin Janna. And it's been pretty nasty. The bot lane for Rockbridge is the lane you want to look at. They're the ones that are probably the most consistent and really the ones that kind of carry their games early on. They won there in the bot lane single-handedly and just translated that across the map.
Yeah, if they can win through this bot lane with the Jhin and the Janna, it really spells disaster for any team that loses to that bot lane. Once they get a lead, they will force it around the map and grow the lead for the entire team and take over the game from there. So
yeah, but either way though, we kind of know what we think are going to win. I think all three of us kind of talked beforehand when we saw the picks and bans, and all three of us believe that Rockbridge has a really, really strong composition, a lot of comfort picks, and something that they've executed very well beforehand. But from the audience themselves, we want to hear from you guys. Who do you guys think is going to win? Let's hear for Battle High School. Who's going to win this game tonight? Battle High School. Is it going to be Battle on the right side, the away team? Yeah, all right. They did just take the B-team game, so we're seeing if they can carry the momentum to the A-team games. To the Rockbridge side, though, again, they are the home crowd. A lot of parents in the crowd, a lot of families in the crowd. Do you guys think Rockbridge is going to win tonight? All right. Well, we're going to see Rockbridge are essentially not only the crowd favorites, but I guess they are the favorites in the standings as well.
Statistically, the favorites as well, yeah.
The composition looks stronger, but we did say that about the B-team games. Rockbridge's B-team composition was much stronger than Battle's. So, but,
Yeah. Yeah, and when you're looking at the B team games, it does matter more about individual skill and differences more than team comps. But when you get to the A team games, they all are playing at a higher level, and that's when the little things start to matter, right? The nuances of each champion really start to matter, and your pick ban gets more important because of that, right? The players know how to utilize their champions better at this level. So draft, even though we can talk all we want, it still matters, especially at the higher level here.
And we still have 1 more minute remaining before the spectator delay ticks down to 0. Teams are already in game, and if you're not right games, you got to wait 3 minutes to spectate. A little bit unfortunate, but it's okay because it allows us to kind of talk a little bit more about the game. And again, kind of feels oof here for what the team comps look like. Tyler, in your opinion, what does Battle need to do to kind of win some of these team fights?
I think that they really just need to focus on Draven, getting Draven fed, keeping him safe, keeping him alive, because as the game goes on, he's going to scale hard, and he is going to shred through a lot of these other players on the other team.
Yeah, it's definitely one lane to focus on, and probably one of the toughest lanes to focus on when you look at how solid XSim, Michael, and Sean Jahong are on those 2 picks. They like to push in, they like to deal a lot of damage, and I don't know, is there a lot a Thresh can do into a Janna?
It all depends on hitting the priority targets. Janna she's safe, but compared to the Taric, who we saw last game, can just make your team invulnerable, Janna can't do that, right? She can put down a shield or use her ultimate, but if you still get the right hook on the right person, it's a lot easier to finish them off than we saw previously.
Yeah, that is correct. And the timer has just hit 0. Again, we're very excited to jump into this game. The Ukatsu High School eSports League. This is Week 7, brought to you guys by Columbia College, Armstrong Teasdale, Veterans United, and Hawthorne Bake, as well as the Ukatsu concession stand. Again, if you guys want a snack, you guys are hankering for something to eat, something to drink, you guys will not find prices anywhere lower in this establishment. The Ukatsu concession stand is the place to go to fill your hungry, your thirsty needs. So, anything else, so without further ado, we're going to jump into the games tonight for Battle High School A and Rockbridge High School A. And when you're looking at it too, again, Rockbridge is sitting at a 5-1 record. Battle High School sitting at a 2-4 record. Not a whole lot that we have just got news, a little bit of alert. There's going to be a 15-second delay coming up in the near future due to potential timeout, probably a technical difficulty, but something that's obviously we're taking care of, and it's going to be handled. Either way, though, we're going to start highlighting the players so you guys in the audience know who is who and who you can cheer for back home, and if you're watching your son or daughter on stage tonight. So in the top lane, for the starting top lane position for Rockbridge High School, we have Andrew VexQ Apostle playing this Poppy pick, the giant hammer, much larger than she is herself. Very much so more of a tank, more of a vanguard, can protect a lot of her carries and stop a lot of engages with one of her abilities. In the jungle position, playing the giant troll, club-wielding character, we have Jeffrey Galaxy Fox Mullen, the jungler for Rockbridge High School. Hearing some woos in the crowd, got some family in the audience, very excited again. He's been performed very well throughout the season. Another rock for their team. And in the mid lane, we have Justin Kill Exhale Zhang playing the Swain pick. Like I said before, very, very meta. It's really disgusting. It's kind of a must pick, must ban. So hope that maybe Battle has an answer for it, not banning it away in the first phase. And of course, in the bot lane, talk about them all the time. We have Michael XSim and Sean Jahong Yu in the bot lane. These two are the dynamic duo. Very, very strong. Possibly one of the best bot lanes in this league. And we're going to see, does Fateful Salmon, does LG Sori have an answer to this Janna Jin?
Yeah, and then in the top lane on Battle side, Sir Klein playing the Alawi, generally a stronger champ in lane, so definitely likes this 1v1 situation against the tanks like Poppy. So hopefully he's able to pull out a lead as this 1v1 continues. In the jungle, this is the Zach Scrumpy's kind of favorite or signature champion that Anusa plays the most. We saw it last game, definitely looking to get engages from long range and kind of bring...
Oh, that was interesting, actually. I didn't know.
That's how you get more healing back. Nice little trick there. And in the mid lane, we have Cameron ruling Ocean on the Vlad. On the Vel'Koz. Yeah, another V champ.
Yeah, he just
never gets to play Vladimir.
Cameron is Vladimir incarnate. I've actually seen him pool IRL, and he's a very, very interesting character. Very excited to see him play again. Cameron unable to get his Vlad pick, but his Vel'Koz is also just as scary.
Yeah,
Already,
this
he's already poked him down to about half health.
Yeah, Vel'Koz can deal a lot of damage from long range and can also shred tanks pretty well. So I do like this pickup if it doesn't get interrupted, right? If the Trundle Pillar's up, it's very easy to stop that Vel'Koz ultimate. So we will look for that later in the game. It looks like the pause is already finished up here in about 1 second, and we will hop into the bottom lane for battle. Faithful Salmon on the Draven.
The older brother to Cameron, actually. So.
Yeah, and he's playing that Draven. This champion is kind of the crowd favorite. Will look to play very aggressively.
Yeah, Tyler's over here shaking her head. Doesn't like playing into Draven.
Not the favorite of supports like Janna. More squishy champions that he can just kind of shred through, and when he catches his axes, gets that additional attack speed.
Definitely, yeah. And Draven will look to play very aggressive because the more he gets kills, the more gold he will get. So he gets more worth out of killing you than you do him. So he will look to play aggressive. He is a little bit poked down now, but his support Thresh will look to make plays and hopefully set him up for those kills. But this is what we were talking about with this bot lane playing so aggressive. It looks like Thresh is going to get caught out, flashed on. One more auto might be able to finish him off. They're not going to follow through though. Jaehong on the Janna using both of his summoners for 2 on battle side. So kind of like an even trade across the board. Battle is forced to recall.
If he had Ignite there, that probably would have been a kill. Although the signature Galaxy Fox with the invade in the jungle, he does this almost every single game, and Nusa almost going down. She would have her passive up, but the bot lane wouldn't have been able to save her. So she escapes, and we see Jeffrey Galaxy Fox up there again, stealing away camps.
Yeah, 12 CS up. That's a huge lead in the jungle. The numbers, the CS numbers actually mean a lot more in the jungle because the camps are worth a lot more than the individual minions. So stealing those away from someone early is very impactful to how the game plays out.
And on the top side of the map, though, really even. We'll say Sir Klein, Nathaniel Klein does have a potion still, and he lands abilities like this, provides a lot of poke, a lot of damage, actually going on to Andrew Apostle. Oof. Matchup-wise, Alawi's could potentially bully out that Poppy early on if they don't get too many ganks. So again, Nathaniel Klein's always been so solid on that B team roster, a very huge proponent of why they won last game, and see how solid he can be in the top lane. He won't have as much pressure as he would in the mid or the jungle position across the map early on.
Yeah, and this Vel'Koz is already out of mana in this early, and actually both mid laners. So now they're just going to try and maybe get some jungle intervention and try and get these waves shoved in so they can get a recall off. Nothing too crazy going to be happening.
I like what's happening there. Vel'Koz is angling on the side of his lane that his jungler is in. So he knows it's safe there.
Yeah, here comes the Jack jump. A nice combo will keep this Swain up in the air, but both mid laners getting so low, and this flash away from Swain, keeping him alive. And now Galaxy Fox will be able to chase this down. I don't think he has the pillar up, so it's not going to be a kill, but that's 2 flashes burned now.
Yep. Well played by Justin there, holding on to his flash to the last possible second. And that's one thing to say about the Trundle pick, Galaxy Fox. He just has so much trading potential earlier on compared to Scrumpy on the Zac pick. Offers a lot more utility, more of a tank. While on the other hand, Trundle can actually duel and deal serious damage. I'm actually not sure what Anusa is doing here. I'm not sure if you just saw what happened in the mid lane, but Trundle is very, very tanky. Although we're seeing the teleport and saving her
teleport coming out from the Alawi, and it looks like Vel'Koz is going to collapse on this. He doesn't see him yet. Just got over the blast plant, so they don't have vision on him this second. They will see him now, and I think it'll probably be a second or 2 off the execute. We'll find out here in a second. He does get executed.
By Jeffrey.
So what happens there, when you execute to a tower, that means that the enemy hasn't hit you within 10 seconds, and the enemy doesn't get gold for that. So even though Jeffrey is off the map for 10 seconds, he doesn't give away anything for Giant. Yeah. So that's the ideal play when you're caught out. And it burned the teleport from the top lane.
That was kind of well played by Battle. I wasn't really sure at first what Nusa was doing, but maybe they had already planned beforehand to get the teleport in and get the kill pressure on Jeffrey, maybe secure more jungle pressure when he's off the board. But well played by Jeffrey, stalling out long enough, not getting hit by any abilities, and just killing himself, essentially, denying the gold over to Battle.
Yeah, but if we look at the jungle matchup, the Zac is now 2 levels down on Trundle this early in the game. That's a huge deficit, and it's going to be so hard to come back from now. Zac won't be able to make any proactive plays, won't hit 6 in probably almost like 10 minutes, depending on how many more camps Jeffrey can steal away. And so this is going to be, a huge early swing in favor of Rockbridge. all stemming off of that play that was made at about 4 minutes here in the jungle.
Yeah, pretty large CS differentials too in the mid lane. And you see almost down by 15 CS already. You already talked about the jungle position. It's huge, being down, almost having half the CS, half the camps that Jeffrey
Yeah,
has.
and Cameron has no flash here on the Vel'Koz. No mobility in his kit either, so they're looking to kind of pressure him. Galaxy Fox hanging in the area. If he does get a good pillar off, he probably will just be killed there. So he's playing very safe, as you can tell. Looks like the jungler is going to actually run into each other in the jungle. And with the Zac being so much stronger,
Good
just
pillar,
barely,
almost.
almost interrupts it in time. If he would have been able to stop him there, that was probably a free kill going over to Rockbridge, but he makes it out in time.
Yep.
And now it looks like Galaxy Fox will just look to clear his own jungle and hit level 6 as soon as possible.
Yeah, that's something that Galaxy Fox does so very well, is applying pressure all over the map, specifically on the other side of the map in the enemy's jungle. Really doing a great job putting Anusa behind. She's just makes it down in levels, down in gold, and as a tank, early on, there's not a whole lot that you can offer when you get out-dueled by the enemy jungle.
Yeah, the tanks in the jungle definitely just want to sit and kind of farm up a little bit. Once they get their first 2 items, then they can actually be a threat, but early they don't really contribute much unless you have like a lane with high CC or damage that you can look to gank.
Yeah, so in the bot lane, not as much of a lead as I would have expected. Now we see Michael XSim and Sean Jae-Hung on their comfortable picks, not up by too much CS, no kills going over either, even with that early trade forcing the recall from Gabe and Lane in the bot lane.
Oh, yeah,
we
looks
actually
like
see a
a solo
kill.
kill going over
Rolling
in the mid
Ocean
lane.
onto Justin, kill Excel. He gets a blue buff
Unable
for
to
his
see
troubles
how
as
that
well.
one happened, and now Galaxy Fox caught out a little bit
Yep.
here. No ult on the Vel'Koz, but there's a ton of CC going down and the true damage proc. He will use this flash, and Poppy will show up to actually defend him there. So actually really well played by Battle. Not sure how that solo kill went through.
Misplay by Battle. The machine, if it doesn't work the way it's supposed to, with Justin going down, Jeffrey doesn't have any laners to fall back on when he's invading. He gets caught out, has no pressure, and it turns into a 2v1 situation. And I gotta say, Jeffrey, I like Price putting in the enemy jungle, but he's got to start ganking either the mid lane or the bot lane. If you go top, you run and trying to gank into Alawi, it's normally not the best decision. Alawi actually does very, very well into 2v1 situations. And so I'd like to see more pressure potentially on the bot side of the map, helping this Jin Jan to get ahead.
Yeah, if you can get ahead of the Draven, he really doesn't provide much for the team. If he falls behind at all, his impact is relatively low. If he can get ahead though, or get out even and then get some kills in like a mid-game team fight, he will begin the snowball. So keeping him down is priority.
Yeah, having played against numerous Dravens before, the way that Jae-Hong and Michael are...
Yeah, a lot of damage going down. The Swain ult is popped, and it looks like Cameron is actually... The Swifties picked up, and the Janaki just not doing enough damage, but the Flash will get the kill by Kelixel. Just came off cooldown as well as that fight was happening. But what I was going to mention earlier is the Swifty boots picked up early by this Swain helps him actually stay in ult range. Very intelligent pickup there, just to kind of get through the slow of that Vel'Koz.
Yeah, another aggressive flash though by Sean Jae-Hong. The second time now he's flashed forward as a support. A support that's actually not traditionally your aggressive kind of pick, would you say, on the Janna, and it helps him secure that kill.
Yeah, and without the mid laner of Battle being on the map, Rockbridge feels safe to go ahead and just take this dragon. Their jungle is ahead, and the mid is free to help out, so this is a pretty easy decision for them. Not a lot of risk associated with that. Zac is in the area, but now kind of caught a little bit too far out. Again, the same pillar, but over the wall, able to pop the Zac passive. I don't know if they do have vision of this, and they will get the kill on Zac. And now Galaxy Fox is going very deep, almost tower diving at this point in the game. It's a little early for that, but with the Jin ult, the range he can contribute to these fights is insane. And forcing the flash and the heal from the Draven in that fight, that's a huge swing in terms of Rockbridge.
go back and check that out as teams are resetting to neutral here. Again, the Dragon free pickup after the pressure they had in the mid lane. And another excellent play by Jeffrey Galaxy Fox Mullen here. Scrumpy's about to escape, but at the last second, he locks her down with his pillar. That's like literally a split-second play right there. Very good reaction. He instantly then jumps on the remaining bot lane, slowing them down so the rest of his team can catch up. And with that, with the Jin ult over top the curtain call, we see exhaust coming out from Jaehong as well. They're able to slow them down, lock them down, and they pick up another kill in return. Great play by Rockbridge High School. They're up now 4-1.
Yeah, and even though nothing has happened in this top lane, that's actually benefits Rockbridge significantly, right? If this Alawi doesn't have a lead on her opponent laner, she really doesn't provide much to the team. She needs to be a lane bully and kind of be a pressure point for this team in the early game. And if that's not happening and they're losing across the map, it doesn't bode well for battle here.
Exciting to see a Poppy for the first time in this league. Ooh, huge ultimate coming out from... Oh, he uses his stopwatch, so he might not have needed it. He's going to go down. Oh, actually, the ultimate coming out, he goes down, though.
Yep, a nice solo kill there.
Huge mix of emotions going on there.
Yeah, they're just trading solo kills on each other, basically. Every time their ults are up, they're looking to fight. And again, there's the strength of that Vel'Koz into the Swain, right? Swain wasn't able to get any healing done until that very last second because of the range Vel'Koz provides. And here comes the Zac. The shield did just go down, but there's nothing to pull this Poppy back, so there's not a lot of pressure here. He will just walk out fine.
Yeah, I got to wonder, another blue buff going back over to Rolling Ocean after that kill. Is that the same blue buff they had almost 4 minutes ago?
I've been keeping tabs on it, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, unable to pick up the kill in the top lane, though. Looks like Jeffrey Galaxy Fox was going in, actually going for a dive, and that's something that he does a little too often. A little uncontrolled aggression is
not too sure what was going on there in his mind. He just kind of...
The Draven ultimate going up as well.
Maybe not expecting Zac to be there, even though they just saw him topside, but... Yeah, well played by him, and it looks like the Alawi definitely able to sustain again in those clutch situations. Pulls out a lot more healing than you expect.
And maybe miscommunication as well. Maybe didn't communicate with Andrew that he was going in of XQ in the top lane. But
yeah, Poppy out of mana, so maybe not able to contribute as much as they'd hoped.
Yeah, maybe a little bit more confidence too. A lot of players have that issue sometimes when you're very far ahead, you feel very confident, and sometimes feel like you're stronger than you actually are. Now it's actually only a 1 kill lead though in favor of Rockbridge. They're up by about 3,000 gold. No towers, and they have 1 dragon. For the most part, a pretty slow start traditionally. And this does favor Rockbridge, though.
Interesting is Janna is just hovering this mid lane, actually looking for a surprise gank on Cameron Ruling Ocean on this Vel'Koz. He will get caught out, probably pulled in by the Swain there. And with the Janna here giving the move speed and the Trundle showing up, this is just really unfortunate for him. Forced into a bad situation. A really nice roam. And, you know, if they're not able to capitalize on this 1v2 in the bot lane, this Jhin should be zoned completely, right? If he's just free farming here, that's a complete, you know, really well played
they don't lose
play by
anything in that
Jaehong.
2v1.
Definitely surprising, but you have to be able to punish that, right? If the support's going to leave his AD carry alone, then you have to be able to kind of capitalize on that. It looks like there's fighting going down in the top lane as well. Just a little bit of zone pressure going on. Poppy is low on mana, so probably wants to get a recall off soon. Finish that Sunfire Cape and start really pushing this lane.
How unfortunate is that, though? You're having these 1v1 matchups over and over again, and all of a sudden a random support pops up in your lane. Not only that, but you give your kill over to the enemy mid laner. That's pretty frustrating, to say the least.
Yeah, definitely. Both junglers just kind of mutually farming the jungle together here. I don't know if Scrumpy actually knew the red buff. Yeah, it was getting taken away.
Her own camps are being taken right a mere couple feet away from her.
But Jeffrey's being a huge pressure point in this, and now Scrumpy caught out in her own jungle. Gonna grab 2, pull them into Cameron's ult. It's actually a lot of damage going down. They will get knocked over the wall.
Great blast cone.
Yeah, the Zac will get finished off finally. It looks like Alawi just ulted, but you know, with all that armor being stacked on Poppy already and her passive from her shield, really not going to do that much damage.
Yeah, for a second there, it looked like a great collapse by Battle High School, but unfortunately the blast cone had to play spoiler there. They were all caught in that choke. The top laners roaming down Sir Klein, but they just pop right out over the wall and are able to escape.
And something important to note, Jaehong on the jump.